nagsilingan dahil na makaluluoy nga nanay, anak, kung saan ka masaya, suportahan kita. Is that really support? Huh? No? So nobody is trying to tell you that restraining from sex is easy. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. But it is a lot better than putting yourself through the grief of unwanted pregnancy. Kaya mo na nga siling, siyempre manukod ka man, madisiplina ka man sa imong kaugalingon. Kaya ang mga kaayuhan nga ginatinuha natin sa kabuhi, hindi mahapos na kwaon. Hambal sa isa ka pari, no longer does man walk with all the temptation. Man now swims afloat temptation. Galamoy na nitaya sa mga tentasyon. Walang naiya sa una, diba? Left and right, ang lakat-lakat, subong niya, we are being swept away by this temptation. But it is, ano bala na, kung magbusong ka nga di oras, kag ano balang desisyon mo nga maghambal sa imo da ginikana, no? Nga nay kabusong ko, nay nakapabusong ko, no? Saka inaatanan malikawan ta nga mga komplikasyon sa kabuhi kon hindi lang tawag sa sining mga pills ni nga bita makabulig sa aton, makaluwas sa aton sa kauyanan. Hindi na siya makaluwas, no? Don't be afraid to lose him or her, to say no to sex. If your friend wants you for your physical self, they are not worth keeping as a friend. Don't fall for the misleading slogan, everyone is doing it. There is no such thing for you. Everyone is doing it. Of course, that is false. Not everybody is doing it. Kaya sa Pilipinas, madamo pa man siguro ang Kristiyano. Madamo pa man siguro ang nahadlo sa sining ng mga kasalanan. Remember, if it is the sin of the flesh, wipe out ita tanan. So, gusto nyo, Pilipinas, ma-wipe out man. Panikat, panagang ka mo sa matutuod with all your might. Why take chances? 1987, the Atlanta Center for Disease Control reported over 10 million new cases of sexually transmitted disease with another 10 million suspected. How many of these couples do you suppose felt they were practicing safe sex? Paglanong sa RH law, ano ang ginabandera sa mga kababainhan naton nga mga natawag naton Gabriela. We met some of them pag nagasiling sila, ay nako sister, masyado kayong outdated, baka pupulutin na lang kayo sa kangkungan. Sino it's kangkungan? Sino pupulutin sa kangkungan? No? And one time, the Gabriela people agreed to be with us in the radio. With Brad Ray and I, we hosted them. So once at all, ay nagbalik-balik ang Gabriela sa radio. No? Ang siling sa RH law, SSS, safe, satisfying sex for all women. That is very sweeping. Miskan hindi mo kinaglan sex, tagaan ka, i-legislate ang sex. Hindi daw ano nakalain sang aton nga panimuot subong. Pag-approve sa RH law, nagsiling dayon may interview ang isa ka media sa kay Cruz. Yan di, kay aprubahan na na, kung constitutional na ang RH law sa April 8, it became constitutional. Sila niya, may I ask you, do you think the President is pro or anti-RH? Siling ni Cruz, I refuse to answer that. Because our President is neither pro or anti. And someone who is neither pro or anti is amoral. Hindi siya kabalo kung anong moral, kung hindi moral. So, 2016, maybe they might change the Constitution again, and like Gloria before, Noy might run again. Remember, some sexually transmitted diseases are incurable. Don't take a risk that you don't have to take. Find someone who respects you for a total being someone you enjoy being with, without feeling pressured into sex. Someone with whom you can keep your self-esteem. Siyempre, sa una, hambal sa mga kaubod ko, what do you think of it? Niya ay, sila nga silula nga, basi mga kabuyan ko na i-break, mabusong ko. Amo na, sa una ka mga wala maan ang mga babae. Basi makis ko na yan, mabusong ko yan. So we don't kiss. We don't go out with boys. Basta, the boys should seek us. And it was a better word for all of us. Nga ang mga lalaki ang nagakatulog, nagapangalyag sa aton. Hindi sa subong nga panahon nga kung hindi mo na makita ang lalaki mo kumaano kami. Ay, you are leading yourself to destruction. Don't take unnecessary chances with your health. Ikaayong lawas mo na. Play it really safe. No to drugs. No to alcohol. Say no to sex. Alcohol? Agua di pataranta. No? Sining ka isa kaubok. Miko, katultul ko yan mapuli. Nagyan kinandan doon ko Singsang miguya. Sige lang ako yung miguay ka mo. Nya, inaho, balay ko na. At ito sila balay at tuod. Pag abriya sang perta, kaya wala ka naman yung abri perta. Siya ako ni perta, di iya nga ituod. Sulod siya. Paglabot siya sa iya kwarto, nakita yung asawa, yung may upod na lalaki. Siya ako na mo. Ako lagi pataranta. Ako hindi. 10 good reasons for saying no to sex. First of all, you won't ever have to worry about getting pregnant. Siyempre, kung di ka na yung mabusong niya, siling sa isa ka i-check. Siya, lakat ko China, pabot ko di, busong ka, ano, pitoy, lamoy. You will never experience the fear and the anxiety of having to tell your parents, gabuson kunay. Wala ko yan ang dayaw-dayaw nga this experience. Wala ko ni makuan. Ang akong kamangurang nga bata, balo na ko sa to. One day, nagsiling sa ako, may problema ako. Singko kabalo na ko na dahil before you tell me. Kaya doon takuin ang panagugnod ko. Yati, mami, okay lang. Singko, it's not okay. But we are going to work this out. Take care of yourself. Hindi ka magpagutom, hindi ka magpakapoy. Kay base ang akong apo, buwang pa na mag-abot. Di pagtaos ang akong apo, wala pa na sila sila makasal sa iyang nobyo, wapa to ang akong nga bata. Kagdason, a year after, they made preparation for a good wedding. Amo na pala kita nga mga Kristiyano should have the ability of turning disgrace into grace. Kaya tana with the help of God. Kaya tana sa aton handong nga mangin maayo. So, you will never have to worry getting AIDS or any STD. Ining sexually transmitted disease. Kung every time you do sex with another man who could be a carrier of the disease, amo na ang mga disease na makuha ta sa pagpakilinawas. You will be free to grow emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, and spiritually. I think this is for the young. You will feel good about yourself, knowing that you didn't give in to peer pressure. Masiling nga iban mo nga mga tunto nga classmate, hindi po hindi virgin. Pero kung hindi ginaya siling pressure para sa akon kung ako sigana na muna. Pero galing, time has changed and we have vulnerable children now. By not falling into the sex trap, you are building your psychological strength and self-esteem. Nagbais ang duwa ka Kristiyano. Ano abi ang mayo naman? Marriage kung baptiso. Siling sa isa. Marriage para sa akon. Siling sa isa. I think baptism is initiation. It should come first. Siling sa isa. Marriage. Because we came from a family with respect. We confuse things already that sometimes simply baptism comes first because it makes us children of God. You feel good. You will be setting an example for others your age, showing that sexual activity can be avoided. You have nothing to do with it, kay bata ka pa, so it can be avoided. Not unless, siling na akong isa, paano na yan? Siling San Gabriela, ang mga gimpang rape, ang mga gimpang hinto. Singko kay wala nyo ginbantayan, ang mga dilikanan. Wala nyo gin paypayuhan, ninyo mga kabataan. Kag wala nyo sinyanan, kung gabi na, paulit na. I have one experience about going home late. Sili ni mamang, gabi na ni, wala ka pa kabot sa balay, o tulong na ho, tapos ng orasyon, yung kumahan, dasig man lang dagan ko, papulit mo. Siya ti, anong natabo? Sigo pag di ko pugit sa bangka, ay hampak di sa altang ko. Siya ano? Sigo kung gimbalik ko, giginantaw ko, nanotong nagbungkuan ko, kulunatnit ka mo niyo. Nana, amo na ang imo makuha kung gabi ka magpulit. You will learn, you will be protecting your own reputation. No girls wants to be called, pakawala na. No boys wanted to be called playboy na. No? Number 8, you will know that for certain that she cares about you, for you are and not just for your physical person, for who you are. Amo na yan, makita tamagid ang mga tao nga wala nagapangayo sa sex. Kaya nga, may future na siya nga idulog sa imo. You will be free to channel your energies into healthy activities such as studies, sport, and others. Community service, if you're still young, if you're still uninvolved. Number 10, you learn not to confuse love with sex. Sex can be spontaneous and brief. One night stand, love takes time to grow and last forever. Kung tuod siya nga love till death do you part. Pero kung sex lang, one night stand lang. Siling nila diin ka mga one night stand sa kataas-taasan, sa kadilim-diliman, at sa kasulok-sulukan. KKK for one night stand because you need to hide an ugly activity. I think I have talked. Is my time up? Last? Yeah, istidis pagili. Abi ko, wait na to. Well, if you are still not convinced, why don't we ask the scientists to show us the pictures? This will really horrify you. According to the Center of Disease, basta disease na siya, Center of Disease Control, in year 2000, an estimated 850 to 950,000 people in the U.S. were living with HIV, and approximately 1/4 of these people did not know that they are infected. Kay iniblang mga studies ni, waay ni siya nagamanifest ang symptom o hindi na siya lala. The United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS estimates that there are 42 million people in the world living with HIV, and 3.2 million of those are children. Imagine, age of 15. Over half of all the adults living with HIV, AIDS are women. Half of the 42 million, 22 million babae. In 2002, approximately 5 million people were newly infected, adding to the 42 million, 47 million na tanan with the 5 million new cases. At sura niya, gonorrhea. An infection, bacterial infection of the reproductive organ that is sexually transmitted venereal disease. Gonorrhea is caused by a microorganism called Neisseria gonorrhea, commonly referred to as the gonococci. It is gram-negative bacterium. Hindi siya nilabot 1 gram. So it is easily transmitted, especially lips to lips kamuda. I think daw kaunon yun na ang lips. No? Gonorrhea is the second most reported sexually transmitted disease in the U.S., being spread through sexual intercourse. It is reported annually in about 600,000 to 800,000 people. It is believed that another 1 million cases go unreported each year. Approximately 75% of the cases of gonorrhea reported by health professionals to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention are in people 15 to 30 years old. Mga kabataan, ginaon. Kagsubong, sometimes ang epekto sa atong mga kabataan who wanted to make it good, 30 na sila, 36, 37, wala pa makita mana because of the remorse feeling of previous affair. No, sa una yan, kasal na sila dahil, di ba? Mag-18 sa una. Kay, it was so popular during our time na kung pakasal ka 18 years old, by the time you are 36, may 18 years old ka na. Di daw, mother and child na lang ka mo nga daw, puro parehas. But sometimes the mother is guwapa. Pinimpunan sa laway nga tatay. Tapos na next. Syphilis is contagious. Makalalaton. Sexually transmitted disease caused by spiroset, Treponema pallidum. There are 3 types of syphilis. Primary cutaneous syphilis, 18 to 21 days after infection. Kaya primary, sa mga kamot-kamot pa lang na anay. Secondary syphilis, cutaneous syphilis comes 6 to 8 weeks after infection. It can be found all over the body. Kung it could be found in the hands and and then tertiary comes after 8 weeks, and the effect are chronic inflammation all over the body. Neuropathies, aortic, aneurysm, heart failure, blindness, dementia, memory loss, insanity, and death. Di ko na muna natanan ang batyag mo, mayo na lang, mapatay ka na lang. This year, 2008, a fresh bout of syphilis was found in Europe, especially in London, in Amsterdam, in Paris, and in Berlin. Warts, ano kanina sininta warts? Hindi kalunggo. Isa ka, bil. Those are ordinary warts siya kung siling sa kay may sexual warts that are skin growth. Ginatubuan ang imong mga tiil, mga kamot ka, mga likod sa lulunggan, muli mga soft tissues mo. Ginatubuan sinang mga warts. Chlamydia is caused by sexually transmitted bacterial disease of human and are estimated to be about 40 times more common than syphilitic infection. Throughout the world, starts with a mild burning sensation on passing urine and often progress to painful inflammation of the urethra or fallopian tube that can lead to sterility. Mayara kasi na hindi ka na pwede makabata. Okay? Infected ikaw mas pa siya gani, mas infectious pa siya sa syphilis. No? Dira na siya nagatubo sa imo ihian, sa fallopian tube mo, kag sa mga internal organs mo. Acquired by 3 to 4 million people per year in Europe and the US alone. Roughly 1 female patient in 5 becomes infertile as a result of adhesions in the fallopian tubes. Muna, ka-experience ka kung infected kasi ka-experience ka na nakakalapot ang imo fallopian tube. What are pubic lice? Kutos, pubic hair, are also called crabs. Pubic lice are parasitic. Kung parasitic ka hindi na makita sa human eye. Kinandan i-microscope mo na. No? Insects found in the genital area of human. Infection is common and found worldwide. Pubic lice are usually spread through sexual contact. Rarely, infestation can be spread through contact with an infested person. Higda ka lang sa bed niya, pwede ka na-infect. Usar ka lang sa iya towel, usar ka lang sa iya clothes. Kasi sila, na pangaliskis mo, kung may karapata ka. No? Infection is in a young child or a teenager may indicate sexual activity or sexual abuse. Kutsing ganon, mga burang na yan may lice, so kung ang bata infected, ginusar siya o abusaran sa isa ka adult. Herpes. Kung isa masiling ng lips mo to, siya nakabunggo ko Kung pila na nakadlog, wala ka na nag-ayo. Ang una gali herpes is a virus, especially the herpes virus hominis. Simplex is the subcategory of that family. Simplex falls into 4 main categories: type 1, type 2, type 6, type 8. Generally, type 1 infects the mouth of the mouth in human. Type 2 affects the genital area, but there is a substantial overlap. It could be everywhere. Type 6 causes an infection during infancy. And type 8 has been associated with Kaposi sarcoma, which is seen in HIV. Are condoms safe? Absolutely not. Using condoms to prevent AIDS is like playing Russian roulette. Your life is at stake. Kaya ang mga kondom tasubong flavored pa. No? Nga abi mo candy, dali kay muna sila sa muna maglagaw kami mga kampanya sining RH. Sila sister, makulong ambal ka na sister, kulong ayuwa lang na daw mild na. So you cannot make these things mild. Not unless you show its evil result. Hindi na mawating ibanda kay ibanda yan without knowing these things, bisig-bisig na. Ikunin mo na sila pag nagdukon sa mga muna ay condom has a failure rate that is estimated to be between 10 to 30% according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control. Whereas 1987, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration tested 20% of the condom lots and found out to have higher than allowed numbers of defective condoms. Pilipinas, nagapangayo lang, pobre kita nga country so that defective condoms will ultimately go to us. 6. Infection found in quarter of teenage girls. The first national study for common sexually transmitted diseases among girls and young women has found that 1 in 4 are infected with at least one of the diseases. Federal health officials reported Tuesday nearly half the African Americans in the study of teenagers ages 14 to 19 were infected with at least one of the diseases monitored by the studies. Human papilloma virus, chlamydia, genital herpes, trichomoniasis, a common parasite, the 50% of teenagers, health officials and researchers said at the news conference in a scientific meeting in Chicago. Unsafe ang condom. Sometimes iban sila may lusbot. Ang iban tungod wala pa gani masuksok mayo. Ang karakasanan ni nagakaupa. Defective condoms that have been damaged or poorly manufactured in the factory defect yan. Cracked condoms caused by storage in a hot or cold place. Sila, may isa ko paupod nga ang iya sa una nga job is to distribute condom. Yan ganina uya, ikosis mag-distribute. Kaya ba si makitaan ko sa mga upod sa simbahan, dahil sa na tagua. The condom does not adequately stop the transmission of AIDS virus and other STDs. because condom voids are bigger than the bacteria. Siyempre, kung ano, wala tanaya kabalo, it does not really help. When one speaks of condom stopping the HIV virus and the sexually transmitted diseases, few people realize the size of what they are talking about. The truth about condoms and sexually transmitted diseases. If the sperm can escape, how much easier for the other STD and HIV virus to escape, as shown in the comparative scale, the previous page. I think the size of condom and the sperm, the size of the diseases and the sperm. Okay ka na? Araw, ang sperm, sus, magtako na yung tao, ginayan yung mga ikong-ikong tiil na mo, bago na ma-join pag ito sa kwan. Pero ang syphilis, nakutako, ang AIDS, HIV, araw, gamay, na, may failure kaning kondom, kung isa may escape pregnancy ang kondom. How much more ng mga gagmay na? O, mga pintok, kag ang dako-dako lang dahil ng syphilis, kag ato pagin sa kuwan gamay na ito. Herpes, gonorrhea, 2 kilo, gamay, gamay man, syphilis, daw tinaib lang ang inaasal. In Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 27, God said, "Let us make man in our image, to our likeness. Let them rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over the wild animals, and over all creeping things that can crawl along the ground." So God created man in His image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. Thank you. Nga amo nino dako nga kapulastugan ang aton RH law nga napasar. Comment ini ni Antonio Montalban II sa Philippine Daily Inquirer, October 22, 2012. Kaya ang RH law gipirmahan ni Noynoy December 21, 2012. Tining sinulatan October 22, 12. Amo ning siling ni Montalban that it can after all be amended only proves the point that there is no need whatsoever to legislate the reproductive health bill. The so-called amendment raises some interesting questions. Will it delete parts of the bill that were simply plagiarized from already existing law? Inkopya lang nila ang mga butang nila sa RH law, duplication na ni, even before there was Tito Soto or Pia Cayetano in the Senate. Soto was accused of plagiarism. No? Nagasiling siya na many provisions of the RH bill could be found in the already existing Republic Act 9710 or the Magna Carta of Women. No? Tani sa simbahan, kapamati ka mo sini sa mga Magna Carta of Women. Kaya kung basahan mo Magna Carta of Women, amo mo na ginapangayon nila sa RH bill. No? Di ba ilayin na? What is the point of another redundancy? The RH bill also carried provisions copied verbatim without any attribution Inkopyahan man nila ang isa kalayi nga ginatawag ta subong 9262 BOWSI or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children. Isa paging kalayi nga ginkopyahan nila 8504 Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998. Isa paging Republic Act 7883 Barangay Health Workers Benefit and Incentive Act of 1995. Yung Barangay Health Workers, sila sa kupon namon, ano na panawag nila, BHD, BHW. Namon, sir, sister, pitawag ko na, tugay ko na, tayo pinapundong. Kung gusto mo pabilit sa atong radio program, hindi ka na guro mag-BHW. Sila niya, kabalo na mo yung kunahin mo, ko, I hope she knows. Nga mga kondong nga babato niya, ilumong niya na. And the panoply of other laws and executive order. The RH bill, in fact, is the greatest work of plagiarism ever to fool the Filipino. Naintuan kita sini, inkopya-kopya lang nila sa mga existing law, pakagason, pakopyahan, pagiliwat, double funding, sobra pa sa pork barrel ni Napoles. No? Cayetano does not deny the following. 3 pro-abortion groups are lobbying for the passage of RH. There is the Family Planning Organization of the Philippines, who last year, 2011, is a recipient of the 26 million grant from International Planned Parenthood Federation, which is the world's biggest abortion provider. Sa pagit, makita nimo diri sa ila ang Medical and Services Delivery Guidelines for Sexual and Reproductive Services that teaches medical, surgical for inducing abortion. Ang duwa pagigagrupo ang muning likhaan and the Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights. Suspetso ko ni, wala na intra ang Gabriela sa mga unang nga panding. Di gusto man nila yung may panding man sila kaila. Ang una nga nagpa-RH bill man sila kaya sila na ang proponent. Sa mga likhaan na manual, you can find these things in Tagalog. Mga ligtas na paaraan para sa pagpalaglag, safe abortion method. A section describe how the act is to be performed. Tinatanggal ang binubuntis sa pamamagitan ng paghigo gamit ang espesyal na tubo, anola, na pinapadaan sa puwerta ng cervix papasok sa matres. Pwedeng gawin ito na hindi pinapatulog ang babae without anesthesia. Pero minsan, may mga bayi, may nga into. Gina-injeksyonan na lang sang gamot sa cervix para makatulong sa sakit. Sa manu-manong proseso, manual vacuum aspiration, tinatanggal ang binubuntis sa pamagitan ng espesyal na hiringilya. Kung hindi gumagamit ng maliit na makina di kuryente para kunin ang bata. Ini ginatawag na Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights is headed by the UP Professor Sylvia Estrada Claudio, a favorite resource person for television talk show. But she never openly said that her group is pro-abortion. Panamin-namin na hinambal ko sa TV ko kaya we did not get the chance to speak. No? Huwag na tayo ginambitar, huwag tayo mani mo. No? That is certainly ini ko nung RH law will channel to legalize abortion. Nagasiling sila yan, nagasiling pa kini si Montalban. Isabi ka adlaw, if survey do not dictate faith and moral, if 99%, 99.99% of Filipinos will one day say that murder is acceptable, will it decriminalize murder? Tanan nabi magsiling nga, gali na no, murder, 99.99. Sino na lang ang nabilin? Isa na lang. Ang isa na nga, hindi maka-say yes nga ang murder acceptable. Amo na siyang patay. Pag-say ay siyang patay. No? I think that is all for this afternoon. Kung paano dumunyo gate nga, wala inisang ikaayo nga idulot sa aton, ining RH law. So, hambal na ng Senyor Obispo, dira sa Bacolod, the fight has just begun. Let's continue to teach, to give instruction, and let's continue to pray for all the Filipinos. Good afternoon.